to so some test le to dring anju changai gi joshi dirwa reproduction in animals ki part 2 ye desin tai. So see, first thing is the development of embryo. The development of embryo la dirwa in the first video regard the reproduction in animal, we learned about what is embryo, what is fertilization, what is zygote, and what is fetus. So embryo la it is the stage after the zygote. Zygote ki jema gi in stage the embryo chade ora. So zygote means a single cell which is formed as a result of fertilization of male and female gametes. Sperm dang egg koni fertilize chiche cell chik chawadela, we call it zygote. And this zygote will now develop into thousands of cells, hundreds of cells. Zygote cell single the cell mangbo huge lama develop chijira. And dindegi ball of cell rangazu ball of cell mangbo jinyam dom chero toto chawana, that is called embryo. The embryo is the first stage for the development of baby chayagi first stage development thangbo dita no is structure mangbo cell mangbo yugi chayadir. So the dindegi embryo di develop kawala chireves. How does the development of embryo take place? The deep part de la sikdara. Deep part nalola you will see image A, B, and C. The image A gi nalola sigwaina. See, there is a ovary. Ovary ne ovulation will take place. Ovulation means releasing of egg every once a month. That is the ovulation. And the release egg in this diagram, the release egg get fertilized with the sperm. Male gametes the fertilized chase it became zygote. A single cell which is formed as a result of fusion of male and female gametes. And this zygote now will develop into cluster of cell, into the ball of cell. Zygote single cell chigdi. The cell mangbo shiu chig nalma ke dure develop chadure. That is the image B shows. The image B shows now this embryo will now travel down through the oviduct into the uterus. Uterus nalola dura. The uterus nalola karore embedding embryo. So this embryo is now placed inside the uterus for the development into baby. When you reach the age of adolescence, puberty to wake up so and rangshingi sukugi hormone, especially in the case of female is estrogen gira, and ovulation will take place as well as uterus lining will take place. Uterus nalo lining lira blood layer gi lining. Dindegi blood layer gi lining di zo khachogolana. It in case if the developed embryo is placed inside the uterus, now it is the function of uterus to let that embryo to develop into fetus to baby develop chala. So for that development there is a need of provide of nutrient called nutrient ora seju ora. So seju de gi chedu uterus ki lining nalola blood layers are being deposited over there. We called it rati yakut jene nganzu idela we called it placenta. Placenta ne umbilical cord le do tewa amagi placenta dang uterus lining it the joint di dang pugu gi tewa parula umbilical cord is there tewa. So this tewa gi gyuchera and pugula pa di tewor kasere nutrients required nutrients develop chela. So see, the zygote divide its repeatedly to make a ball of hundreds of cells. Reda zygote develop chela. That is dindegi ball of cell de la khala olana we called it embryo. The embryo moves down the oviduct into the uterus. The embryo get embedded in the soft and thick lining of the uterus. Uterus ki soft and thick lining yo blood layer ki lining yo dinga ligres. This is called implantation. Embryo di uterus nalola dos lewa dela we called it implantation. Duk chijin embryo di develop chadur. So the embryo develop charis and then it will change into fetus and fetus to baby chadora. The baby chadang la yawa nyorda. See, So viviparous and we have oviparous. So oviparous like the condition these are the kinds of giving birth to baby through the egg. Gonga ki gyuchi pugu di directly not a baby. It is born out from an egg. That is called, this such type is called oviparous. These entities are egg laying. Gonga tangi res. Pugi ores. So gonga tang wake up so kachuolana. The fertilization di unique kawachi share. Internal fertilization is there. Oviparous narole internal fertilization yongor. Fusion of male and female gametes so female gibotina yongor. In a internal fertilization yongor rete, but the development of the embryo is through the external means. Chilola so we chilola ma develop cheworelar. By laying egg, the eggs hence ra chadeda chiudunzugi they lays egg. Kongatangre and they nurture the egg by keeping it very warm and very safe remare. And nyamdo chilo ni 30 gire kongadi chala choching ni kharchagolana desida. The hard shell of the egg kongadi chakbo yoba gyumjela tashi pakbo di chakbo yoba gyumjela, it give protection and also it provide nutrients. Dinalogi kongadi nanglo la yeshagyo girwa ngajugita dinalo chudo dance konga siri da donzo changma girwa donzo nepu kelegore, and it also provide nutrients. So once the fetus matured and konga dinalo fetus the mature chasana, then the egg will hatch and konga chadure dinma pu kelir. Chezang mangbochigiya konga sade ni sha sawada chikpare la ni tanadita dindigi koranzo which pure which tinzugi and consider chidwa konga sawa de sha sawa chikpare la di. Yes, of course, chadudwa. Kajin kongani ultimately it is giving birth to new life. If you eat such eggs ra, di against kalor life chik destroy chiwato chadudwa. That in maler. Chena example oviparous birds, frogs, and fishes. Chaza and nyamdo do mangboji are oviparous, but there are snakes which are also viviparous, giving birth to babies, right? Yeah, mammals la nang azu nusu semje la mammals mangbo jijida ne not egg laying ki types di mare de, but there are some exceptional mammals like platypus tang echidna la do platypus la semje chodo ringbu dojo. You type it in the Google, you will find it. Don't you dige mammals re, but they are oviparous. That's na viviparous kare. Viviparous la sonara types of giving birth to a baby. Animals giving birth to offspring are known as viviparous. Anyamdo here viviparous nalola fertilization is internal and the development of the embryo also occurs inside the body of the human. Human gi nalola develop chadure. Penetration kita shimida mila sopan sama viviparous charo. See, oviparous birds, egg laying, viviparous giving birth to babies. Then we will look more into the details. See, oviparous ta viviparous didi nose thing egi dana dirma by juice ne ma lemba. See, so what it means? Oviparous means lay unfertilized or fertilized egg. Konga ma tangche genye. Ani viviparous lana giving birth to young ones, while their development take place within the body of the female counterpart. And fertilization dekare internal or external niga yongsidu oviparous narola viviparous the internal chadigidu. Zygote development the embryo occur outside the body, and the embryo ani zygote development dirwa dindegi embryo the occurs inside the body and supply of nutrient to the embryo the condition. Embryo obtain nutrients from the egg yolk. Oviparous nalana konga dine ma nutrients rade gore. Ini viviparous imana embryo the nutrients the amazon rade gore. And chance of survival. Tako survive sungire sundang shi lejura. Didn't kesta wana oviparous the less chance of survival is there. Kajanana konga inchu du chilogi kuriyo condition enu ke yorwa. Ini viviparous na chance of survival the very high re khajina as long as mother care for herself knowing that she is a pregnant ran pu di khadune save the chance structure bora ni example din re the young one to adults. The next topic is young ones to adults. Tati khala wala na now the baby is born. Baby chungjung che. See, from the baby to kids to children to an adult, teenagers, ra, and then old grandfather. Then and grandmother. The young one to adults. See, the second image is another form of development of frog from young one to adults. The tingi parlatada mi nalo larwa development di mangboji mi chamai ma simje mangboji na development di there is no significant changes in the body parts. Penjan pugu chungjung gabjo kangbani lakbani mig nagu yoba nangsing chikoja although the size develop but the shape almost remains same. Reda there is no such big change happening in the body as it developed from young to adult. In the next case, tadpole to an adult frog. Tangbo tadpole, see, there is no legs and there is only mostly used to survive in the water. There is a development of the four fingers. Tail the ringbu shiudia. Tail che Reda tamadela frog chadoda tadpole chongmolera to adult frog hangsangi gyuwa shukchembu shiuj dogor body gi shape dang tunzu nanglola chenang anzu topic khare lawanara young ones to adult rangjare. So a great change in appearance or character happen in some animals as they grow into adults. Adult chawe kapso semje khashi nanglola halebe penchembu shiuji gyuwa penchembu shiuji dogorwa. So this is called the word metamorphosis. Metamorphosis layer. So metamorphosis ki definition dilata wana the process of great and usually rather sudden change. Change the halebe shukchembu dogore dis gyuwa di all of a sudden in the form and the habits of some animals. Korangi supugi form, supugi shape, and the habitat di gyuwa dukuri. Habitat ngama segana de chungana de dingi jita segana de tuya da dindegi habitat ngama sagana komajan ro dingi jiro namgana ya komajan ro tuya gini ba namla pir tuya gini ba yogoshi. Dinde habits of some animals during kadu transformation gyuwa tuya ki tuzudi gyuwa khani togor from immature stage to an adult stage. Nilada thanda chadela nganzu gi butterfly ki jashina insect kol ke shinara sa insect di gyuwa tuya ki tuzu immature state ne ta adult stage chawe kapso gyuwa shukchembo shiush turi subu gi form kala nyamdo ani habitat kala gyuwa shukchembo turi dinde dela gyuwa shukchembo dongye dela nganzu khala wala na Dawa dela metamorphosis lawor. The metamorphosis chingi gi semje mangbo yorwa thandi ngi butterfly gi chiktonde. Butterfly ki del sigda thangbu egg ne caterpillar padu da lava leda dine su pupa leda chrysalis dine su ni butterfly chaza ya butterfly ki egg tangro ya to score ja deta life cycle of monarch butterfly leda monarch lede peje I think it stands for kingdom like na chik dirang su da khai hangmaste himene dine su ta life cycle to metamorphosis khandi du meshne ra. See the fourth stage of metamorphosis in insect. The insect nalola metamorphosis chila stage mangbo du de ngi gidana fourth stage di magi shira. Stage thangbo di egg dire. Eggs are laid on the plant by the adult female butterfly and these plants will then become the food for the hatching caterpillars. Dinama caterpillar jima thoni ra caterpillar donzu gi ni khala tensa dikhalana dinde gi chishing di cha digerelar. That is caterpillar the feeding stage. Tako caterpillar dikhalana ta sayat hujur ko stage dikhalana feeding stage. Ya khasu satudu sayirte. The next stage is the larva. Larva dikhalana this is called caterpillar if the insect is butterfly or a moth. korangi la nga zu idel caterpillar le ra ta caterpillar gi le agar to eat and eat and eat shiuji sa ya saza ta dine sumba di kharlana pupa the transition stage ta caterpillar di ya sa chero an kola subu chalong shuk chembo shiu lewe tizudela now it become pupa people le dira an kokona ora khachi dulana butterfly na lo yinsona it is called chrysalis le chrysalis. Depending on the species, the pupa may suspended under the branch dindigi wala tokto chini dengi dineyore, hidden in the leaves or buried underground. Pupas of many moth like semje di gyuning anzu gi silk rawata, cocoons of silk. Dibo do Google ta anzu mitsu girwa ani thulo gi chedura fiber to fabric nalo we have natural silk. Silk donzo dine ragor semje konzo korang zora semje donzo ani transformation stage tuju cups geni kumnema ko tata chitangni korang zo reach in sigdwa that is being obtained by the human gi chulengor and tamadel stage dikalana an adult reproductive stage that is the other butterfly din jene pipa din dawa tam ni khazare dunda da mangboji jela an ko butterfly chai gi nibat le tujudela an ko butterfly chadu that is the adult. Now is the stage for reproductive stage. Yang kone pu kaza fertilization shunga fertilization egg release ya nya stage chi to sto khore. Ta chi gujinga bekpa nanglo la sikdaro. Thangbo egg do then embryo tadpoles then external gills for breathing tails keep on growing hind legs appear then leaves from food stored in the tail ra food stored tail gala store chigun chalong chire then front leg appear and tail become shorter young frog and adult frog that frog khana lo le gyo shuk chimbo shius to do ra so azu laune metamorphosis is a change of shape during the animal's life animal ki lifetime lo shape gyodur that is also a certain and huge drastic change yongota. During metamorphosis the tadpole will develop back leg first thangbo kangba gyablo di develop chagidu then front legs chagidu rather than anju tana bekpa na ge shewodra and around 6 weeks of life the mouth start to whiten up ni ko ke chero develop chije dunda thuks nalola ani khadipa shanga dipa cheru dweche and then dunda ta korang deshigeda dunda choose nalola and the eyes start to bulk out migma thwinle and tails begin to shrink and eventually disappear tail di latya and when the lungs finish developing the frog makes its way into the land and kaligali lungs di develop chadwa ngama ena chunal dewe kaso gills di ora ta kaligali gills di la chero now there is a development of lungs for the breathing some huge change during the life of the frog as it develop from young ones to adult dindenal change chukchamo legyodalang aju chik metamorphosis ladilar tada lada it's a frog and frog the chare tadine we have another topic called asexual reproduction the so far aju girwa sexual reproduction called gesture where there is an involvement of two parents where there is a fusion of male and female gametes to give birth to new life. The asexual reproduction asexual reproduction is a types of reproduction which do not involve the fusion of gametes. Pamani goe yomare and the gametes loga ni fuse cha goe yomar. Or there is no involvement of change in the number of chromosome. Chromosome ki thanga di gyuwa dwayamar. Ta ngama na ngazu ta shire sexual reproduction na details shawana chromosome di pamare ne ma half chromosome share che la denura. That these things will not involve. These things are not related in terms of asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction na tonzo keje shi mare. Chena the offspring that are arise by the asexual reproduction. Nyamdo kewa tengorang anjugi. Sexual reproduction chicherwa an offspring baby lewa titang. Asexual reproduction gyucherwa baby lewa tingi phala. Kewa karyola nalar. Asexual reproduction from a single cell or from a multicellular organism inherit the genes of that parents. Parents na gene kang yo di chikpa chigyang chik konang ginalo lewor. In case of asexual reproduction from each parents there is a only contribution of half 23rd pair of chromosome maji tang thugo mar 23rd pair narone only half 23 matangora tandi di mixi gi tananga juki sperm the egg dojimana sperm di narola is a cell so there are 23 pairs of chromosome and female narole 23 pairs of chromosome the 23 pairs narone total 23 pair cancel man each parent contribute equal amount of chromosome with the chega tangora in asexual narola whatever the gene of parents is there is inherit in the offspring layer chega dinde yoma kangza parents na gene kangyo di chikpo jigyang di ma pugu na lewor hence there is a little amount of differentiation from their parents asexual di uni offspring is very similar to that of their parents whereas sexual reproduction is na phamani da chikpo jigyang mai ba character this clear di lawor tachina asexual reproduction nalola ro nganju gi types kharkaryorela types tunju chader binary fission budding fragmentation regeneration vegetative propagation spore formation mangbochik you already learned in class 7 and yang mangbochik you will learn again in class 10 in details chaso that imbaina tananga ju jine geve gi negabla we learn only 2 types of asexual reproduction that angbodi binary fission the amoeba nalola parlas yadara the next la budding in hydra na budding chungyogi parchikche and fragmentation in terms of spirogyra nara chungyoche chu dindegala jangush choidwa dicha and dinema regeneration in terms of planaria and vegetative propagation yore spore formation yora. So the first thing is budding. So what do you mean by budding? Budding lana nganjugi chugana yogira ne budding ladi di mare. That is not the case over here. So budding like the bud but lana chidani chungjunga nganju jangwana tiu ladi tiu. So inire shingdoji keegi nubo yogadala we called it tiura but ladi. So budding is a types of asexual reproduction. Budding the asexual reproduction ki types in which new organism develop from the outgrowth or bud due to cell division at particular site. The di khala parna sigdra the hydra parent hydra girwa diwa de la dokto chungjung ji develop chadu chamdo khala olana parent hydra ki sukbu gi chashi mangbo nanone chashi chigla at one site SIT di nalola rapid cell growth level di ki cho de la cell gi growth yura cell ya kebel che di nobody shukchambo shiu chawor nubo shukchambo shiu chawe kapso kajor and di new organism develop from an outgrowth and di nubo shukchambo shiu no khodirma dokto chunju theleor telanga ju khala oran thele gyo gi sobda de la but lager but kharishin chawarelana due to cell division at one particular site. And in but the cell development but it will develop into it slowly develop into bigger and bigger size. The small bulb like projection coming out from the yeast is also called bulb but and the ngazo hydra na geshera and jibojiya yeast na lol tawene the ngazo gi chashe war ta see yeast cell developing budding is there and a new bud is there and chain of bud such types of giving birth to new life is called budding. But the chambocha so it get detached from the parents and new hydra or new yeast is developed. And then binary fission. Binary lady china ne tik by lady tikni la kura bicycle lawaneshi. Binary fission. Fission lana ngazugi ko tumbu khewa dilawar. Diwa chawa. So, binary fission is a type of asexual reproduction most commonly seen in the prokaryotes and some single-cell eukaryotes. Binary fission di chidane mangbo chungye di nganzo prokaryotes na yunguri yelar mangbochi. Yimane eukaryotes, prokaryote eukaryote ngama kyonanzo tarwa cell narola. Prokaryotes lawana nuclear membrane mebe ki bacteria da dunzo lagor. Develop shinan. Eukaryotes lanarwa ani nucleus la membrane yukyo donzo digela ni eukaryotes legera membrane bound cell organelles yukyo donzo eukaryotes eukaryotes the mangche multicellular cha digre yimene eukaryotes na single cell di yo penetration amoeba donzo eukaryotes re in a single cell re chena wala binary fission di chidane asexual reproduction type jire prokaryote na yong de jire yimene kabre eukaryotes ki single cell organism yi kazare amoeba donzo na chungurdas. In this method ta khachogore asexual reproduction binary fission na khachogore there is a separation of parent cell into two daughter cell. Parent cell chikdi and daughter cell ni narama thumbu khetogor. Delang anjo khalolna binary fission there. Penjana parla sigdarade. Parent cell chikdwa. So here the DNA replicates chijera. It develop into two types. So two types na sevek so thangbo cytoplasm is divided, and then after the cytoplasm the nucleus divides. So ngazor kharir two daughter cell rade daughter cell ni rasa. This process happens with duplication and division of the parent's genetic material into two parts, where each daughter cell receive one copy of its parents. Pala pamakirwa DNA ki copy re papula ba radikirelar. Thus, now comes the conclusion. What you have learned, nadire. The lobsen di nalola we learned about the reproduction. What is reproduction and two types of reproduction, sexual and asexual reproduction. So sexual reproduction and a reproduction which result when there is a fusion of male and female gametes. Reproduction and how they are giving birth to new life. New life birth tela pamanine fusion of male and female gametes ne chungana de la sexual, whereas asexual lawana ngazugi pamachine single parents ne chungat chaswa. Point somebody. The reproduction chungala we have reproductive organs in male which include testes, sperm duct and the penis chaswa. And ovary in the female produce ova or egg, and the testes in the male gametes produce sperm suda. So the fusion of ovum and sperm is known as fertilization, and fertilization chigyogi the single cell chadore. So the fertilized egg is called zygote. And fertilization which take place inside the female body is the internal fertilization, and this is observed in human being and other animals such as hens, cows and dogs. And fertilization which take place outside the female body is called external fertilization. Usually frog, fish, starfish, aquatic animal mangche chadidwa. And this zygote it develop into ball of cell. It develop into hundreds of cells which collide together. We called it embryo. Embryo lagidwa. Ani dinma the stage of embryo in which all the body parts are identifiable only. The embryo the uterus na develop chari tujujigla manzu itabe kapso we are able to identify the body part of the embryo of the human body part. That is called manzu fetus lagidwa. So animals such as human being, cows and dogs which give birth to young ones are called viviparous. Pu ke dit khadubora purang ma kewana dela viviparous. Oviparous lana giving birth to baby through egg. Dilagidwa. Ani tamadela the transformation of larva into adult through drastic change is called metamorphosis. Metamorphosis lana development from young one to adult. In this case, there is a drastic change in the form as well as the habitat of the animal. Then metamorphosis later. And in asexual we have two types. Hydra out of many types we learn only two types. And first thing is budding, and then the second one is binary fission. And things to be done by yourself. First thing is revisit the full chapter once again, reproduction in animals, part 1 and part 2, and make notes out of here and complete the textbook exercise.